Hollywood loves its perfect image, flawless smiles, blockbuster roles, and stories crafted to keep stars untouchable. But behind that polished facade lies a brutal truth. Coming out can still cost everything. In an industry built on image, sexuality has been treated like a career-ending secret, and for decades, actors were told to stay silent or risk it all. Yet in 2025, a new generation is tearing down those walls and paying the price for their honesty. These aren't the untouchable legends of old. These are young, rising stars whose faces light up Netflix screens, Disney films, and primetime shows. And when they came out, they weren't just risking jobs. They were risking the very future Hollywood promised them. From teen idols forced to choose between truth and typecasting, to actors who shattered Disney's carefully guarded image, to voices that refused to be silenced even when the industry pushed back, these stories prove that bravery comes with consequences. You're watching Rainbow Spotlight, the channel that uncovers the LGBTQ+ stories Hollywood doesn't want you to hear. Other creators beg for your subscription up front. We won't. Stick around until the end, and only hit subscribe if we've earned it. Before we begin, tell us in the comments, where are you watching from? Froy Gutierrez has the kind of face that Hollywood was built for. Sharp cheekbones, soulful eyes, and a charm that feels both innocent and dangerous. From the moment he appeared on Teen Wolf, fans couldn't take their eyes off him. He was the boy next door with a hint of mystery, the actor who could play the high school heartthrob while still leaving people wondering what was going on beneath the surface. But as his career grew, so did the rumors. Rumors that Froy never denied but also never confirmed. And in the world of Hollywood, silence is never just silence. Froy's journey is one of whispers turned into headlines. Early on, fans noticed how little he shared about his personal life. Unlike many rising actors, he wasn't showing off girlfriends on red carpets or playing into the typical PR dating games. Instead, he kept things quiet. So quiet that people began to fill in the blanks themselves. Online forums lit up with speculation. Fan accounts dissected his body language, his friendships, his absence of public romances. The rumors took on a life of their own, and suddenly, Froy Gutierrez wasn't just an actor, he was a mystery. Things escalated when photos surfaced of Froy spending time with Richard Madden, the Game of Thrones and Eternals star. Paparazzi shots showed them walking together in London, vacationing in Italy, and looking inseparable. Neither ever confirmed a relationship, but the internet exploded. Was this Hollywood's newest power couple? Was it friendship? Was it something more? For fans, it was proof. For critics, it was gossip blown out of proportion. But for Froy, it was just another storm to weather in silence. The way he handled it said everything. He didn't lash out. He didn't joke about it. He didn't even offer the classic Hollywood line, "I'm straight, but I support the community." Instead, he stayed quiet, continued working, and let people speculate. That decision was powerful, but it was also risky. Some fans applauded him, saying his silence was a form of defiance, a refusal to let the industry or the media define him. Others criticized him, arguing that by staying vague, he was missing a chance to represent young queer men who needed role models. Hollywood has always punished actors who step outside the mold, especially young men who audiences see as leading men. For Froy, coming out, or even allowing people to assume, meant risking the types of roles that could define his career. Teen idol, romantic lead, action star. Hollywood still wants its heartthrobs to play straight, and for someone like Froy, who had all the tools to be the next Zac Efron, those roles were both opportunity and danger. And yet, by refusing to play the denial game, he showed a quiet kind of bravery. So, what do you think? Is Froy Gutierrez protecting his future or rewriting it? Drop a 1 in the comments if you believe his silence is the boldest statement of all. Michael Cimino became a breakout star the moment he stepped into the role of Victor Salazar in Love, Victor. With his boyish smile, effortless charm, and undeniable charisma, he carried the weight of a franchise that meant everything to queer teens searching for representation. But playing a gay character while insisting he was straight in real life put Michael at the center of a firestorm. Hollywood has never been kind to young actors who blur the lines between fiction and reality, and for Cimino, that line became harder and harder to protect. When Love, Victor premiered, fans celebrated the fact that a young Latino actor was leading a story about self-discovery, love, and identity. But almost immediately, questions followed. Was Michael simply playing a role, or was the role reflecting his truth? In interviews, he initially emphasized that he was straight, but wanted to support the community. That statement, though well-intentioned, sparked controversy. Some praised him for allyship, while others accused him of taking opportunities from queer actors who desperately needed visibility. The scrutiny was intense, and for a young actor just finding his footing, it was a dangerous spotlight. Over time, Michael's perspective seemed to shift. He began speaking more openly about fluidity, about refusing to label himself too early, about exploring identity in ways that didn't fit neatly into boxes. Those comments ignited even more speculation. Was he hinting at something? Was he slowly coming out? The internet dissected every word, every look, every role choice. In an era where social media demands authenticity but punishes vulnerability, Michael Cimino became both idol and target. The way he handled the storm defined him. Instead of retreating, Michael leaned into honesty. He admitted how hard it was to receive backlash at such a young age, to be called names online, to feel like no matter what he said, it was wrong. But he kept going. He kept showing up. He kept choosing roles that challenged stereotypes rather than reinforced them. In doing so, he showed courage, not just in the characters he played, but in the man he was becoming. Fans were divided. Some believed Michael's journey proved how toxic Hollywood could be, pushing young actors into corners where they couldn't win. Others saw him as a role model, someone daring enough to admit confusion, vulnerability, and growth in real time. His bravery wasn't about a headline-making coming-out moment, but about living authentically, step by step, even when the world wanted neat answers. That nuance made his story more relatable to a generation that doesn't believe in rigid labels. So what about you? Do you think Michael Cimino risked it all for nothing, or did he change the game by standing in his truth? Drop a 2 in the comments if his courage inspired you. Ben Aldridge might not have the household name of a blockbuster superhero, but to those who follow his work, he is one of the bravest voices of his generation. With his striking features, commanding presence, and raw honesty, Ben has proven that true courage in Hollywood isn't just about the roles you take, it's about the truths you refuse to bury. His decision to come out wasn't a casual revelation. It was a risk that could have cost him everything. Before his breakout roles in Spoiler Alert and Knock at the Cabin, Ben's career was steadily building. He was the type of actor Hollywood loves. Tall, handsome, versatile, and capable of leading both romantic dramas and gritty thrillers. Yet he kept a part of himself hidden, knowing that being openly gay could mean fewer opportunities, typecasting, or even being quietly passed over for parts. For years, he played the game, delivering strong performances while maintaining a carefully guarded privacy. But silence comes with a cost. And for Ben, the weight of hiding began to feel heavier than the risk of truth. When Ben Aldridge came out publicly, he did so with candor and emotion. He admitted that he had been afraid, that the industry had conditioned him to believe authenticity was dangerous. But he also shared how liberating it felt to finally live openly, to no longer divide himself between actor and man. His words resonated because they weren't just polished sound bites. They were confessions, filled with vulnerability and strength. The reaction was immediate and mixed. Fans flooded him with support, praising his honesty and thanking him for being a role model. Queer audiences especially saw themselves in his struggle, the fear, the risk, the triumph of coming out. But within Hollywood, the risk was real. Casting directors suddenly had to decide if Ben Aldridge could still be a romantic lead for straight audiences. Some industry insiders whispered that his decision would cost him roles. Others admired his bravery but questioned whether mainstream Hollywood was ready for openly gay leading men. What made Ben's story different was that he didn't just come out. He chose roles that amplified his truth. Playing gay characters wasn't just work, it was a declaration. In Spoiler Alert, he portrayed love and loss with devastating realism. In Knock at the Cabin, his performance as a gay father fighting for his family turned a Hollywood thriller into something deeply human. With every role, Ben challenged the notion that queerness limits marketability. Instead, he proved it enriches the story. So, what do you think? Did Ben Aldridge risk his career, or did he redefine what a leading man can be? Drop a 3 in the comments if his story inspires you to see Hollywood differently. Josie Tota is not just another young face in Hollywood, she is a force of nature. With sharp wit, undeniable talent, and a confidence that radiates from every role, Josie has built her career on breaking rules the industry thought were unbreakable. But her journey has been far from easy. As a trans feminine actress who came out publicly at a young age, Josie risked more than most of her peers could imagine. She risked her career, her safety, and her future in an industry that has historically erased people like her. Josie's career began when she was just a child actor. Appearing on shows like Jessie and Glee, she became known for her comedic timing and magnetic screen presence. But behind the bright lights was a painful truth. She was playing a role off-screen too, forced to hide her authentic self in order to keep working. Hollywood celebrated her talent, but it wasn't ready for who she really was. That double life nearly crushed her. When Josie came out publicly in 2018 through a powerful essay in Time, she shattered expectations. She didn't just share her truth quietly, she declared it boldly and unapologetically. For someone so young, it was an act of radical bravery. She risked being typecast, blacklisted, or even abandoned by the very industry she had spent her life trying to break into. But Josie knew the cost of silence, and she refused to keep paying it. The reaction was seismic. Fans praised her honesty, calling her an icon for Gen Z queer youth. Media outlets spotlighted her as one of the youngest actresses to come out so openly. But not everyone was supportive. In an industry still crawling toward inclusivity, some doors closed just as others opened. Josie has admitted in interviews that she was terrified. Terrified that by embracing her truth, Hollywood would no longer see her as marketable. That fear was real, and yet she pressed forward. Josie didn't just come out, she transformed her career. In Peacock's Saved by the Bell reboot, she played a confident, fashionable trans teen whose story wasn't defined by trauma but by joy, wit, and ambition. It was groundbreaking because it showed trans representation that wasn't tragic. It was aspirational. Josie used her platform to prove that being authentic didn't limit her. It made her unforgettable. By 2025, Josie Tota is not just surviving in Hollywood. She's redefining it. Her beauty, talent, and boldness prove that risk can lead to revolution. She risked everything, but in doing so, she gained something greater: freedom. So what about you? Does Josie's story inspire you to believe that authenticity is worth the price? Drop a 4 in the comments if you think her courage is exactly what Hollywood needs right now. Auli'i Cravalho will always be remembered as the voice that brought Disney's Moana to life. At just 16, she became the face of a new generation of Disney heroines, strong, independent, and authentic. But behind the magic of becoming a Disney princess was a young woman who carried a truth that didn't fit Hollywood's carefully polished narrative. When Auli'i came out as bisexual, she didn't just risk the backlash of fans, she risked her entire future in an industry that has long punished young stars for stepping outside the mold. Growing up under the spotlight wasn't easy. As the voice of Moana, Auli'i became a role model for millions of children around the world. With that status came enormous pressure to embody a flawless image, one free from controversy, one that kept Disney's squeaky clean reputation intact. For years, she played along, focusing on her work and avoiding the kind of personal disclosures that could shake that carefully managed brand. But silence carries its own weight, and for Auli'i, the cost of hiding was too heavy. When she came out publicly in 2020, she did it in the most modern way possible, through a casual TikTok video where she lip-synced to a song and proudly declared her bisexuality. It wasn't staged, it wasn't a press release, it was authentic, raw, and unapologetic. But for someone with her platform, it was also a massive risk. Disney princesses aren't supposed to come out. At least that's what the industry whispered. Would parents reject her? Would the roles dry up? Would Hollywood decide she no longer fit the image they wanted to sell? The reactions were divided. Fans flooded her with love, calling her a trailblazer, a queer icon for a new generation. Young LGBTQ+ audiences in particular saw themselves reflected in her courage, finally witnessing a Disney star embrace their truth. But the criticism came too. Conservative voices condemned her. Some parents claimed she had ruined Moana, and industry insiders worried about her marketability. For a young actress, those doubts could have ended everything. Yet Auli'i never wavered. Instead, she doubled down on authenticity. She chose projects that aligned with her values, lent her voice to advocacy, and refused to retreat into silence. She reminded the world that queerness and success are not opposites, that being authentic doesn't erase talent, it amplifies it. Every time she speaks, she does so with a mix of confidence and vulnerability that makes her both relatable and aspirational. So what do you think? Did Auli'i risk it all, or did she win everything by choosing truth? Drop a 5 in the comments if her bravery makes her the Disney princess Hollywood never saw coming. Five names, 5 stories, and 5 young stars who put everything on the line just to live authentically. In Hollywood, where image has always been currency, their bravery reminds us that truth costs something, but it also gives back more than silence ever could. From Froy Gutierrez to Auli'i Cravalho, each of them risked typecasting, backlash, even the possibility of losing roles, but in exchange they gained something no studio could ever script: freedom. And their choices don't just affect them, they ripple outward, inspiring millions of fans to believe that authenticity is not weakness, but power. You've been watching Rainbow Spotlight, the channel that uncovers the LGBTQ+ stories Hollywood doesn't want to talk about. Other creators beg for your subscription right at the start. We're not like them. If this episode made you feel something, if it made you see Hollywood differently, then and only then, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell. Now we want to hear from you. Which story hit you the hardest tonight? Drop your thoughts in the comments and tell us, do you think these stars risked everything, or did they gain everything by telling the truth?